now tuned in to the tap in. We talking again. Yeah. Welcome to the podcast. Might talk a little shit, get a little brash. Might drink a little bit, smoke a little bit. Vibe a little bit, laugh a little bit. Yeah. Hosted by Fidel. Tell it like it is, only tell it real. Live every Tuesday, you know the deal. We talking again. You now tuned in to the tap in.
What's up, everybody? This is Fidel Avendaño Jr. Talking Again podcast. I'm here once again on another episode. I believe this is tap 62, 63 maybe.
63, I think.
Something like that.
I feel like deja vu, but yeah, 63 sounds right to me.
I'm here with none other than Joel Gonzales.
Joel Maurilio.
I'm sorry, I forgot the M.
The M Gonzales, yeah.
So if you guys don't know, I fucked up. We had like a 45-minute like gold conversation, and it just...
We are literally talking again after a good 45-minute conversation. But
I don't know what happened, but everything went out. Audio went out. Everything went out. Video didn't record.
All right. And you know what's funny though? Because before you noticed that, what we were just saying, that like, again, we say the enemy, but things are always going to try to come in and mess up with your peace and your mojo.
Yeah.
Like why get upset about it, bro? Like whatever.
That's true. You're right.
I'm hanging out with a homeboy. We're chilling. We're drinking some whiskey.
Salud.
It's some loose right here, but some
Boom.
Buffalo Trace.
Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
we're
had some stogies.
craving the fast life.
Crave the Fast Life. Oh my God. Crave the Fast Life available on Amazon Prime.
Salud.
So there you go.
Every time you hear that, take a shot.
Yeah.
Not us,
Ooh.
you.
Yeah, you guys, because this is so strong. This is already we've been at this for a while now. But
That was full.
that was full. Yeah.
So,
Dang.
Buffalo
And then we
Trace.
started some cigars too, but we're having a little wind issue in here, so we decided
You know what? That's the podcast game.
that's what it is.
I guess that's what happens.
That's what it is.
But we touched on a lot of things, and I hate to do it, but I mean we're gonna have to like try to see if we can.
What was the core? there?
The core of this was passion.
Passion.
It was
Yeah, there you
passion.
go. Passion.
It was doing what we love to do. It was
Exactly.
keeping that faith, like
Exactly.
being humble.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. So I
All
think
right, show's done, bro.
We'll go off of that. You guys watch the tap room. That's what we talked
That's
about.
where we talked about it.
No, but really, I don't want to mess it up. But man, Joel, you've been a great friend of mine.
I appreciate it, man. Likewise.
You're a film producer. You're the PitMaster of Tenny's Craft Brewing, or I'm sorry, Tenny's Craft Barbecue.
Brew maybe one day. Ooh, now you got me a new idea.
One day, Tenny's Craft Barbecue. You're the president of Nosotros.
Nosotros.
And we touched a lot about the group Nosotros and what it does and what it provides.
Yeah.
So if you can.
Yeah, well, look, Nosotros, again, what mentioned was, founded by Ricardo Montalban. If you guys are old enough to remember him from Fantasy Island growing up. If you're not, he's just this iconic Hollywood figure, like a Frank Sinatra, a Sammy Davis Jr. He was the quintessential Mexican gentleman that he was. He founded this organization in 1970 because he was tired of the stereotypes that Mexicans were playing in movies. Him himself was playing the gigolo or womanizer. And he fought for diversity, inclusion before they were the buzzwords that they are today. Like now we have Black Lives Matter and all these other organizations that are doing that. He was doing that in the 1970s when he was trying to speak out at the loss of his own career, because his career, he got blacklisted for a long time because of that. So this organization is going on 50 years this year. I am the president of that organization. I'm just like, when we talk about passion, I'm passionate and excited about what I get to do as the organization's president. We do showcases and workshops and master classes with the different studios and networks. And I think one of the main things we hit on was what's important to me is that we as Latinos or Latinx or whatever we want to call ourselves nowadays, is that we don't stereotype ourselves and we don't continue to allow ourselves to be stereotyped, by the films that get made about us. So there's this hashtag, nothing about us without us. Like we have to be involved in the writing and development of those projects. So so if you're a content creator or a director, I'm sorry, his name again.
Luis Ziga.
Yeah, what was it?
Luis Ziga.
Yeah, Luis. Yeah, so Luis, like another example, it's like go out there, create your own films, tell your stories, but tell them in a way that even if you got to tell a story from the hood, that's okay, but tell it in a different way. Just change it up so that Middle America knows who we are and that we come in different layers, and you know what I mean. It's just important. For me, it's really important that that's the message that we drive home. So, I shared with you that Netflix just gave us a $75,000 grant as an organization to work with them so that they have our organization in the rooms with them when they're developing new content about Latinos, so that we can really say, hey, that's really not capturing the Latino voice. Right. Or maybe that's the voice from East LA, but it's not the voice from El Monte. Right. You know what I mean? It's two different types of voices. West Covina. Yeah. Right. So we come in different layers. So I think it's really important for us as content creators to really kind of like help to change that narrative.
So when you talk about that deal that you guys got with Netflix.
Yeah.
That allows you to be in the room, in the boardroom.
Yeah, they want us in the room. They want us in the writer's room.
They want your opinion. They want you guys' input.
Exactly. Exactly. They want to know what we hear, what we think about the screenplays that they're going to run by us, screeners of shows that they've already shot, even working with their casting, right? Because we're an actors organization primarily. We have over 5,000 members nationwide. We're a national organization. We are the oldest Latino arts organization in the country. We work with organizations like National Hispanic Media Coalition, NHMC, NALIP, which stands for the National Association of Independent Latino Producers. Yeah. So all of these organizations, we've been out there for decades now. But the primary goal is to enhance and improve the image of Latinos in media and how we're seen and portrayed, right? Yeah. So what Netflix is doing, right, because they had this kind of roundtable with us, and I spoke up. I was just like, look, there's a couple shows on there that I feel like the writing is lazy. I feel it doesn't portray me. You know what I mean? I'm a lighter Latino. Just because I'm a lighter doesn't mean, you know what I mean, that I don't have stories. I grew up in Watts, you know what I mean? So it's like we don't all look like this and we don't all talk like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think that was important. Mm-hmm. So I think they saw value in that, and based on the history of the organization, yeah, they stepped up, man. And I respect them for that, because they're like, okay, we're not just going to talk about it. We're going to be about it. We're going to be about it. We're going to be about it. Yeah. So they offered us a grant to participate with them. And development of new projects and stuff. Yeah. So pretty excited about that.
What are some of the benefits that people can gain from being part of Nosotros, the group, Nosotros?
Well, if you're an actor, we do a lot of master classes with casting directors. We do a lot of network showcases. We have one right now that we just wrapped up called Ya Tu Sabes Monologue Slam. NBC wanted a different type of showcase. A showcase is basically where an actor, a studio put on a showcase where they open it up to a bunch of actors. You read a bunch of like what they're called monologues, and you perform in front of an audience, right? Yeah. And NBC was like, we're tired of doing that. So can you guys come up with something different? So we decided to call it like an underground monologue slam, where we did it on the rooftop at the Ricardo Montalban Theater in Hollywood. Right. And where we had this like national, like we reached out to like, we open call nationally. Mm-hmm. We had Latino writers submit 2-minute monologues. So instead of going out there and finding material that's already been written, we were given a chance to writers to submit 2 minutes of your best monologues, right? They submitted those, and then we chose those from like executives from NBC and different actors, ambassadors that we have, like Nick Gonzales from The Good Doctor, Melissa Barrera from In the Heights, which is coming out. Mm-hmm. She's one of our ambassadors as well. So they picked the best monologues, and now we opened it up to actors. So we had over 600 actors submit, actually worldwide. Wow. It was crazy. From all types of different backgrounds of Latino, right? And Latin background. So we've narrowed that down. So this showcase, unfortunately, because we couldn't do it live on the theater, we're going to pre-record it at the theater on the rooftop. We're going to film it like a production. The actors are going to be performing, and then we're going to stream it live on Facebook. Oh, wow. With Facebook Watch as one of our partners on that. So that's just some of the things that we do. But as an actor, you participate in workshops, master classes, Sometimes we'll get special casting notices. You can actually join Nosotros for free at nosotrosorg.com for a free membership and just be updated on the things that we have going on. And we have a lot of free events that happen virtually too now. But then you can actually pay for a membership, which is, I think at the it's $60 or $99, right? And each one gives you a little bit different benefits. Yeah. But at that point, I tell people you're not buying a membership, you're investing in yourself, and you're actually investing in your community, because I don't get paid for this, right? None of my board gets paid for this. All the money that we make goes back into the programs that we develop and then the youth programs that we do as well. So, it kind of pays back.
So even with this whole pandemic and all this social distancing, like us right here, we're social distancing.
We're really 6 feet apart.
We've been tested. We measured it.
Yeah. And plus the whiskey kills anything.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No. That would be nice though.
Yeah, right.
You guys have been able to maintain it, you're rolling with the punches, right?
We had to pivot, bro, because this year, Sunday, August 16th, this year would have been our 50th anniversary. Yeah. And the very first Golden Eagle Awards is which the award show was the first Latino award show. You can look it up. The first Latino award show was in August 16th, 1970 at the Hollywood Bowl. Wow. Ricardo Montalban hosted it with people like Frank Sinatra, Lucille Ball, Desi Arnaz, Charlton Heston. A lot of your young people are like, who? These are some big names in Hollywood, okay? Big names. So at the Hollywood Bowl, bro. So our plan was, and we already booked the W Hotel in Hollywood, the rooftop. We're going to have an after party. Yeah. We were going to do the award show at the theater, at the Ricardo Montalban Theater on Vine and right off of Sunset and between Sunset and Hollywood. So we had this beautiful show planned, bro. Beautiful show. And then COVID hit. But but like we were talking earlier, man, things happen for a reason. I think we had to really pivot and really refocus. And since our organization has always run kind of like in the grassroots, because these other organizations they have bigger boards, right. They have bigger financing, bigger sponsors. We don't, right? And although we're one of the oldest, we went through a dormant time when Ricardo passed away. So when I stepped in as president, I spent the last 10, 11 years now rebuilding the organization with a strong board that I have now. So we weren't affected as much because we were already doing stuff with very little money anyways. So other than our award show being kind of like canceled this year, we, the board that I have and the committee members that I have, they're so into the social media, and man, we just pivoted. If you look at our branding at Nosotros.org on Instagram, I mean, the branding is on point. I mean, the videos are on point. So it challenged us, bro. And I think we came out of it, like you said, we came out of it stronger as an organization. Nice. So I'm pretty proud of that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now I'm sorry, I don't know when Ricardo passed, right?
2009, I believe.
2009. So then you took over right after.
I came in, I think around, and I'm trying to, and it could be the bourbon. I want to say I came in right about 2010, late 2010, almost 2011.
So right after his passing.
Yeah, but see, I could be wrong. I think, and you think I would know that, but it's right now, honestly. I don't remember.
Again, sorry, we lost about 45 minutes of this earlier.
I think it was 2009. But yeah, so I came in. The organization was kind of just a small group of people that were meeting once a week and stuff. And I was working at the Paley Center for Media in Beverly Hills as an associate programming director. And they asked me to come in, and I think it was around 2010, late 2010, 2011. So yeah, it's been about 10 years now, going on 11 years now.
So did you ever get to meet, you got to meet
I met Ricardo once, but I wasn't part of the organization. I was in high school, and we came to an event where Nosotros was doing a play, and like in a sea of handshakes, I got to shake his hand. But have I ever personally met and talked to him? No. Yeah. But I made it a point to learn and research as much as I could, although I can't remember his death date right now. He has a book that he wrote called Reflections, and I optioned the book as well through the foundation. So I'm seeing about republishing that book because it's so reflective of today's times now. But no, I never got to meet him, man. But you got to know a lot about him through what he's written, articles that I've read about him, articles that he himself has written. He wrote a really nice article in this Faith magazine because he was a devout Catholic.
Yeah.
And he talked about this one period in his life, which was really dark, about how being away from his family and the power of prayer. And I remember reading that article and I felt even more connected to the guy. You know what I mean? So never met him, but definitely I think in spirit, got to meet him and stuff. And I'm honored that I get to carry on that legacy, not for myself, but for the organization. And I always tell people that it's not about me, it's about the organization. So any decision that gets made for the organization is for what's going to benefit the organization, not me. And that's why I've been very protective for so long. And it isn't until the last 3 years that I've allowed other board members to really step up and take more leadership roles, because I've seen what the wrong people leading the organization turned it into. And I I spent 10 years of my life, working at rebuilding this. I don't want to see it go to waste.
What's hard, like, a lot of people get that little bit of fame, a little bit of power, and then things change, man. Like people start acting a little different. It happens. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've been in a board, but a lot smaller than that. Just a little league board of baseball, and people get, everybody gets their power trips.
It's ego. We all have egos. You can't say that. You can't say you don't have an ego, because everybody has an ego.
Right.
But I think I mentioned this earlier too in part 1. Just kidding. Mentioned this was that I always ask myself, am I doing this right now? Am I feeling this way? Is it to benefit the organization, or is it going to benefit me?
Right.
And that's my filter. And that takes maturity. That takes discipline. And not that I'm a very disciplined person, but that's one of the things I've learned. I check myself. Right.
Yeah.
I'm real with myself. I'm like, okay, why am I feeling this way? You know what? It's vain. It's vanity right now. It isn't about there. It's about me right now. So I check myself. Yeah. So, and luckily I have a board that are just as passionate and ambitious as I am, and real with themselves as I am. So that's how I think we've been able to turn the organization around in the last few years.
So you would say that, you're doing okay as far as filling in shoes, right? Big shoes to fill. With Ricardo?
Humbly, I would hope I would. I would hope. I think if anything, I would want, and I always talk about like, I'm going to eventually step down. Right. But I want to step down knowing that I'm leaving the organization in good hands. So I would hope that I would. I hope that I am. I hope that, of this magical moment where Ricardo appears in his white suit and says, "Joel, you're doing a great job." That'd be great. Joel, right? But I've met his daughter, his daughter, and has paid me nice compliments after last year's award show that we did do, the 49th annual Golden Eagle Awards. She didn't attend, but she heard from her husband, Gil Smith, who runs the Ricardo Montalban Foundation and the theater. Yeah. And him and I become great partners in carrying on Ricardo's name. Right. So he's complimented me. So, it means a lot to me. I take that very like with heavy weight when somebody compliments me that, because I know it's a responsibility I have. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Have you thought of, have you put a lot of thought into, as far as, because you have the rights to his book, or the book that he wrote, as far as making the movie, would it be like a docu kind of movie, or theatrical, or theater,
or like a documentary? Yeah. I have the rights to his, so again, the foundation licensed me the rights as well to do either a film or a television series or a documentary. And again, there's a lot more to this guy than just Fantasy Island, right? Like he had, treacherous years of being a Mexican working in classic Hollywood, in the 40s and 50s, right? 60s. So, he broke his back on an MGM movie and was, and no one knew he was out in the woods. Out in the desert. They were firing off cannons for the next scene, and he was out practicing on his horse, and the horse threw him and he broke his back. He had to crawl himself basically back to set. You know what I mean? And then after that, MGM dropped him because he could no longer dance for them. You know what I mean? Wow. So like, there's a lot to that story. So I see the movie, and he has a beautiful love story between him and his wife as well. So I'm still trying to figure that out. So I'm not in a big rush. I was in a big rush. And we talked about earlier how sometimes we put pressure on ourselves. And I said, you know what? I'm still figuring it out. I've read and reread his book. I've read so many articles on him. I have his family members that I've talked to. I'm still trying to find the right story and the right writer, right? Because as a producer, I'm not going to write it. I'm not going to direct it. I'm trying to find the right partners, whether it be a production company or a bigger production company, to help me find the narrative. So it's like a Netflix show. Maybe it's like a 12-part miniseries, you know what I mean? Or maybe it is a 2-hour movie. So I don't know yet. So that's what I'm still trying to figure out.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like a stressful fun.
It's stressful fun.
But like you say, you're taking your time with it. You're not putting yourself, into so much pressure into doing that. Like
exactly.
Work on your own pace.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because like we said, on the other one was when we take that passion and that love that we have for the certain project, it tends to come out a lot better. Yeah. 10 times better than it probably would have come out.
Well, we talked about your podcast, right? Like, why are you doing this,
right?
It's like you're doing this because you enjoy doing this, right? You're not doing it for the numbers. You're not doing it for any other reason because this is this is your hobby that you've turned into a passionate project that you do.
Right.
And I think anything that we do, whether it's the filmmaking, whether it's podcasts, or whether it's the barbecue, of why I started 10 East Craft Barbecue was because I just found something that intrigued me. Like so many people, barbecue is like, it is America's cuisine. If you think about it, there's French cuisine, there's Italian cuisine, Middle Eastern cuisine. America's cuisine is barbecue. It's cooking on an open pit, fire pit, or offset smoker. It is America's cuisine. And that to me, from a producing standpoint, because I'm a creative person, like I take this raw piece of meat, this brisket, that for years was a meat that was discarded or was given to even the slaves at the time, right? Because they're like, oh, this isn't a prime piece of meat. Yeah. And to render it into this juicy piece of meat that you had, right? Like that is so delicious, right? I just found that so intriguing to me. So my wife calls me like the bookworm. Like when I get fixated on something, I want to learn about it. I want to learn about it. So I went down that rabbit hole with barbecue, but I got to a point, I think you witnessed this when I was doing the pop-ups every weekend at all the breweries and stuff. It wasn't fun anymore, dude.
Old Stump Brewing,
right? You were there, right?
That's what I saw when I was like, oh, he's just not the same guy anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, he's really busy. I can't talk to him anymore.
Yeah. Remember you when you were at Arrow, you would come over talking and everything?
Yeah, which is chit-chat, you're having a good time. But at Old Stump, you're like, there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think it's because I just at that point, I was finally doing it the way I wanted to do it because prior to that, I had a partner in the sense of like we were working together because he wanted to do pop-ups and I wanted to do pop-ups. But I was, again, being the producer, if he wants to handle more of the heavy load of the barbecue, I was like, okay, you handle that, I'll handle everything else. But then it wasn't fun for me because I wasn't getting able to do the barbecue.
Yeah, and that was the reason why you got into it,
right? So at that point, I had to really ask myself what's important to me. And it was like, I just want to be able to cook the barbecue, enjoy it, and not have the pressure. Mind you, like you're going to feel pressure in anything. You're cooking for 20 people, you're cooking for 300 people. Right. It's pressure. Mm-hmm. But that's how you manage that pressure, right? So for me, it just wasn't, I didn't want to do it as a business. And I'm not saying like I got it like that, but I wasn't doing it for the money, right? I was doing it because I enjoy seeing somebody when I slice up that brisket and I give it to them and then they take that first bite and they're just like, whoa. Yeah. That to me was priceless, right? Yeah. So I went back to that. So that's why I only do it maybe once a month, twice a month if I have the time. I'm going to be at Old Stump Brewery actually on Sunday, November 15th. Right. Yeah. Sunday, November 15th, I'll be at Old Stump Brewery because their patio finally got officially reopened. So they invited me to come out there. Nice. So I didn't do anything this month. Well, actually, wait a minute. No, I did something last week. It was more personal for my family, but I had a couple extra briskets that had been dry aging. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and cook them. And I threw it up on Instagram. Like, hey, I had a couple extra briskets. If people want to pick up some meat. Dude, I had like all these DMs. And I was like, wow, like I a little nerve-wracking. I was like, crap, because I just turned the family thing into like this, and my wife's gonna get mad at me. But I was like, babe, look, I'm just gonna do 25 orders, and that's it. Yeah. And I had more than that, but she was like, that's it. And I was like, that's it, I promise. And I had people like, okay, I gotta go outside. There's somebody outside. I gotta go take the bag out to them, right? I had everything already carved up and everything for them and stuff. But it was nice to think that people were like, yeah, dude, I love your barbecue. And I'm always waiting for when you're gonna pop up. And to this date, bro, I still get calls on Yelp. From Yelp. Really? Like, hey, are you open? I'm like, no, I'm a pop-up. So I told you the story. I was looking into getting a restaurant or opening a restaurant because I found this spot. But the person that owned it, like first they were open to it, then they weren't open to it. Then they wanted to sublease it to me. But then I went and hung out with a buddy of mine who has Rosie's Barbecue in Northridge. Yeah, Northridge. And I got to hang out with him for 2 Fridays in a row. And I got the real taste of what it is to run a restaurant. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, dude, this is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But I think we talked about that in the tap room. I was like, no, I'm not ready for that. Yeah. Because I have to make the decision that this is all I'm going to do. And right now, Nosotros is my priority. You know, the filmmaking stuff is still taking off, right? With my barbecue show that I'm going to do with the University of North Carolina. And I have another movie in development for them to shoot in Texas. So not ready yet. Yeah. But I'm still investing in, like, I'm building another smoker, you know what I mean? Right. A more customized smoker with a smokehouse and everything. And where I'm going to store it, I don't know. I'm looking at your driveway.
Our driveway's nice.
I'm thinking you got a lot of room in here. So it
might fit right here.
It might fit right here. Yeah. So, but lead everything with passion, bro. Because if you're not passionate about it, then why do it?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, right. I mean, I'm not like we're old timers, but man, I think we're mature enough to know, like, if it's I'm not excited about it, why do it?
Yeah.
And I think we live in such an age now where people are living by these likes.
Yeah.
It's like, but are you really happy?
Yeah. Well, forget the likes, but like, as far as prioritizing all your passions, everything that you're doing right now, all your projects, we obviously have to pay the bills.
Yeah.
We got to pay the bills. That's number one for me. Always number one for me.
Exactly.
So have you been able to prioritize, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, but if you want to prioritize it right now, go ahead and do so. As far as like Nosotros, the producing, the barbecue.
No, you're not putting me on the spot, but it's a good question. That's actually a really good question. I have to, for me, as a man, as el hombre de la casa, you know, hombre. Oh, by the way, Crave the Fast Life on Amazon Prime. Please watch it. It was a drinking game. We've already way ahead of you guys.
Take a shot.
This is it. Wow.
Salud.
Salud. It's good. It's good. Oh my God, I just went, woo.
You did.
I did. That's going to be forever. Somebody's going to make a meme out of that.
I'll put it on a replay, on a loop.
And I did it again. You know, I'm just blessed to have an awesome wife, man. You know what I mean? And, you know, I'm not saying like, you know, she's the breadwinner. No, I'm not saying that either. Yeah. But, you know, growing up, when I was younger and I was raising my kids, you know, I had to always take a job. I had to have the 9-to-5 job, right? Production is fortune or famine. You have good months and you have bad months. But I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I left a good paying job and I just dove 100% into that. At the same time, I was building up Nosotros. So now I'm at a point now where Nosotros, although it doesn't pay me, it pays me in other ways because it leverages me as I get, you know, opportunities through, you know, people know me as a producer and also as president. So I'll get offered jobs.
Yeah.
Jobs that way.
Yeah.
But you're right. I still have to, for me, it's important to be able to bring in income. So the last couple of films that I've done well, right? And some of those particularly have been movies where I've raised the financing. So therefore I actually benefit what's called in the back end, right? Other times they're just jobs for hire. They pay me up front. But what a lot of young filmmakers do is like, oh yeah, they fall for we'll pay you in the back end, points in the back end. If the movie ever makes money, you're never going to see that money, dude. Right. Unless you're in control of the money, you ain't never going to see that money. And I learned that lesson quick. Yeah. Right. Because there was a couple movies where you actually asked me before the tap room, this other producer I used to work with. Yeah. Like it was the same thing. He's like, hey, help me make these movies. I'll pay you money in the back end. You know, he paid me a little bit up front. Those movies made money for him. They didn't make money for me. Yeah. So I learned that. If anything, I learned that from him. Like now when I get hired for a movie, I have a standard rate that I get paid or I ask for. And if it's not, then I negotiate better, right? So to answer your question, my priority is being able to produce films that generate revenue for me, right? Or generate projects that I'll get hired. Like I just did a season of America's Top Dog for A&E, right? So I produced that with them. Then the North Carolina Barbecue, right? Yeah. Docu-series I'm going to do for Amazon. That was me creating my own job, right? I went out there for a barbecue camp because I wanted to learn more about North Carolina barbecue, which is very different from Texas barbecue. And the director of the program had always wanted to make a show or a documentary. And then I thought like, oh, I have a couple ideas. So we connected. And I wrote up a proposal and I presented it to the university, and the university basically funded this budget that I proposed to them. Yeah. And so I've now just created my job for the next year. I mean, it covers my year's salary, and I'm getting to produce this 12 episodes of this documentary on North Carolina barbecue. So I literally get to go, you know, it's going to focus on the agriculture of North Carolina, right? But with the barbecue being like the vehicle that we tell the story with, with, right? So I get to go eat barbecue for like however long, you know, for probably a couple months, different restaurants. Hopefully 3 months, right? And I'm getting paid to do it because I created my own job, right? I'm getting to hire my friends, right? People that I know that are really good at what they do. So I created it. So my priority is always trying to find something, not so much where I'm gonna like it's mine, right? It's just leveraging the opportunities to create another opportunity. Yeah. But honestly, when I found that when I don't focus so much on, now I get it, you have to provide for your family, you have to worry about that,
right?
But I know I just found that when I kind of just let it go, trusting and putting it out, and for me it's putting it out to God and knowing where my heart is,
right?
Things seem to work out. They seem to come along. Like this job for America's Top Dog. I didn't necessarily need the job because of the money from the North Carolina project came through. The other movie came through. I just had September to kill. And oddly enough, my name came up and somebody came up and I was like, I could use X amount of money this month because I wanted to buy my truck, right? We were talking about. I was like, but I don't want to touch that money yet. And then out of the blue, I get this job offer for A&E. It's for America's Top Dog. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. Right. I'd never done a reality series.
How does that come up? That opportunity where you like, it's so away from like what you normally do.
Bro, that's what I'm telling you. I tell people, man, and again, I'm always going to go back to my faith. God takes you on the most beautiful scenic routes when you let him drive. Bro. Yeah. And you just got to trust. And I know that sounds cliche, but I have no other explanation for it other than I don't know. Yeah. But I know that I've been blessed that way, and I always give back the glory to him and think, man, I've just been blessed that way.
So when you produce this gig, the America's Top Dog, you did it because like, it's fucking.
I was one of many producers, just to be clear on that. Yeah, I was one of many producers on the show.
You're like, it's gonna pay good. I'm gonna do it because whatever. Or what did you have? Did you make the time of it?
I had a good time, right? Because I was mainly overlooking a lot of the production end, the safety, health and safety as well for the crew because of COVID. Making sure 160 crew members and cast members were kept safe. I brought in JR to help me as one of my officers as well. I brought in a couple of people from my board. I actually met somebody that I'd been talking to through another producing group and brought her in, and she did a great job. So we had fun. We were the best department of that whole production. People loved coming to our trailer because they were like, yeah, you guys are awesome, right? Yeah. And I just made fun of it because I didn't take it as serious as other producers. And I'll give you an example. There was a couple of infighting of like bad talking behind, like, oh, so-and-so. And then you would talk to so-and-so and they would talk about so-and-so. And I hate that. Yeah. Save that dragon drama for your mama, bro. Like, I don't want to be a part of that. So at one point, my department, we had cleaned up this major mess they had with the COVID compliance stuff that they had. And we were getting like, one of these producers was just, bitching about the overtime that my team was doing. Yeah. And I stood my ground. I was like, either you pay them or we walk. Yeah. And we walked for the day. And I had the network from New York call me and say, what do I have to do to make sure you guys don't walk and you come back to the production? I'm like, just pay my team their overtime. She was basically like, well, do you produce? She was trying to like milk me, like, do you want to produce more with us? And I'm like, oh, that's great. And Danny, we can talk about that stuff. But all I'm asking for, this isn't a pissing contest. For me, it was just pay my crew their overtime. Yeah. Because I was on a base rate that I negotiated beforehand. Yeah. And I negotiated that really well. Yeah. Right. But I just wanted to make sure my team got paid for the overtime they were putting in. So again, I'm looking out for my team. And for me, like I think I said this earlier, if you live your life with your fist closed, you're never going to give and you're never going to receive. Mm-hmm. I live like this. Yeah. Any resource or any opportunity that I have, I open it up to my friends. Friends meaning people that I know are professionals in the industry that I know that will do a good job with me, right? I open it up to them. And then sometimes it's not reciprocal because sometimes they get opportunity or people have gotten opportunities and forget. But it's okay because somehow, some way, I always come out okay on it. I don't know I know what it is. I know what it is. And I call upon that all the time, but I've just learned not to stress about it because stressing about it doesn't get me anywhere. Right. So, that job came and went in 1 month, dude. It was beautiful. Yeah. It was a great job. It was a cool opportunity. We were shooting out in Santa Clarita. No, I'm sorry. What's it? No, Simi Valley. Oh yeah. Simi Valley. And it's season 2 comes out, I think next after the new year, and so it was cool. It was fun. It's fine.
So this is season 2 that you produced.
We season 2 and 3.
Oh, 2 and
we
3.
shot 2 and 3 at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah. Season 2 and 3.
Yeah,
so it'll be out. So next season 2 will be out next year, and then whenever they release season 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool. It's fun.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like you're having fun. You're doing what you like to do. It's just like you'll take on different challenges. You know, and these are some of. I've had conversations with you about it. You know, when you're out there barbecuing, I went out there to your house.
Yeah, you came out that one out. Yeah,
and those are some of the things.
I was sleeping by my barbecue pit.
Literally sleeping by his barbecue.
With one eye open though, I was making sure the fire was still on.
Yeah, making sure. Which is a big thing, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
making sure that it's the right
So I
temperature.
shouldn't really sleeping. I was like relaxing next to my barbecue. I wasn't my
I was trying to throw your game off by bringing some beer. And, you know,
and I think at that point I was like, I learned my lesson. Don't drink when I'm cooking because it's like then I lose track of what I'm doing and stuff. But I'm sorry, you were asking me a question.
I drank the rest of it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just saying like those are the things that some of the reasons why I like talking to you, conversating, because you give me that fuel, that energy of like, don't take it so serious. You know, like you do things because you like to do them, and don't put too much pressure on yourself. You know,
and mind you, that's a learned behavior because I have been hard on myself, and I can still get hard on myself, and and it takes having the right people in your life. And again, kudos to our wives. I know we've talked about our wives, and I think they're very similar in that where they call us. They it's like being in church, bro. They tell us the truth. They call it out, like they call us out on it. And she's like, you're too hard on yourself. And for years I was, and I still can be from time to time, but I've gotten better at checking myself, being real with myself. Okay, why am I feeling this way? Okay, I'm feeling this way because of this. Okay, let's take a knee, slow down, reassess, and that takes maturity. That takes discipline. Not that I'm a disciplined person, but I feel like I've gotten better in that area.
Yeah.
And I am the kind of guy that I took a writing class just to take a writing class. I didn't take it. I never got a degree in anything. I just didn't have the time, didn't have the money. I had 2 kids to raise. I couldn't go to college, right? Full time. Right. And for years I would knock myself on that. But then I look at guys and people that I know that did do that. And then they're still searching for themselves now. And I'm like, well, I think I found myself already, but they're barely finding themselves. Or now they're like, what does it all mean? I went to law school. Now I don't want to be a lawyer, but they got the money to live off of. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. But I think, again, the point I'm trying to make is we could say jack of all trades, master of none. That used to be an insult to me, but now I take it as a compliment because I know barbecue, I'm into cigars now. Want to learn about bourbon. I'm learning the stuff I want to learn. Okay. And I'm doing the things. And again, faith without action has no strength. You can want to, I'd love to do this. I love to do that. I love to learn how to play the guitar. Well, go out and buy yourself a damn guitar and take a lesson. Yeah. What's stopping you? Mm-hmm. They got apps for that now. Yeah. So the only difference between you doing something, thinking about something, and doing it is that one little action in between. And that's the one thing that I feel that when I want to do something or I want to learn about something, I just do it. Now, mind you, it doesn't always work out, but at least I've tried it. And at least I can go to my grave thinking, hey, well, I've always wanted to do this and I tried it. So here is something where like I wanted to learn about barbecue, but now I've incorporated barbecue into my other passion, which is filmmaking or creating stuff. So now I'm getting to do it and then getting paid to do it too. Yeah. So find your passion, as cliche as that may be, and just honestly, Nike commercial, bro, just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Well, when I saw your post about you doing a docu-series, that North Carolina one, I was like, God, this is right up his alley. He's being able to do the thing that he normally does that pays his bills, that he loves to do it, but it's also with barbecue. That's another thing that he loves to do. So it's like, it's probably gonna be the best job of his life. Blessed, right? Blessed.
And okay, so then besides that, I'll even give you another little tidbit here with you, right? With Fidel. Tidbits with Fidel. Yeah. I want to do a show called Bark and Char, right?
Bark and Char,
which is bark is from barbecue and then char from grilling, right? And actually, I got that name from a buddy of mine. But I want to do a show more on LA barbecue, Texas style barbecue. So I'm going to use a North Carolina show. I got the university to fund it. Yeah. So my plan now is I'm going to go to Texas A&M, which hosts this annual brisket camp. Yeah. Very exclusive brisket camp, right? Yeah. Where you think brisket camp, right? But like the top pitmasters go there. I got in this year because a buddy of mine pulled some strings for the show, Bark and Char. and I'm going to go participate. So now I'm going to talk to that university, and I want to do a series on Texas style barbecue under that title of that show. See, so again, I'm already leveraging one thing to the next thing. You know what I mean? Because if you can't look, if you got a 9-to-5 and you love the 9-to-5 life, hey, and there are people out there, God bless them, they can do it. I just couldn't do that. I've done it. Believe me, I've worked everywhere from Panda Express as a marketing rep to a banker at Bank of America, man. I've done it all. And it just wasn't for me. So you got to be honest with yourself. But mind you, if you have responsibilities, like I tell my 20-year-old, get your footing first. Before you can take that next step, or if you're mountain climbing or whatever, get your footing before you reach up. So I, through my 20s, through my 30s, had to get my footing, had to make sure I had at least a stable income for my kids, health insurance. And then, mind you, when I brought up my wife earlier, you know, and then I met this awesome woman who just loved me and supported me, wasn't trying to change me in the sense of like, go get a regular job. She knew what she was marrying, right? And she supported me every way. So, mind you, you know, she has her career and everything. And again, important for me as como hombre to bring in the bread. So I work my ass off every month to try, okay, I need to know that I'm bringing income. So I'm always leveraging one thing to the next thing. So it may not pay off this month, but then I maybe didn't have income for a month or two, but then by month 3, I just made 6 months worth of income come in. You got to constantly be working. Being out of, I tell people, I'm self-employed. I had a buddy tell me, he goes, that's another word for unemployed. No, I'm like self-employed, bro, because I work harder than you. You go in and collect a paycheck. I create my paycheck. Right. So again, but if you're not passionate about it, then it's not for everybody. It's not. So I can't say that my life is better than others. It just depends on what. I think I said this earlier. It's like you need to know when to ring the bell. When you feel you've succeeded or you're succeeding. And for me, I may not be making these big Hollywood movies and things like that, but I'm providing for my family and doing what I love. You know, Nosotros is a big part of my life, you know, that organization. And then now with the barbecue too, you know, I'm still figuring that out. I really don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm building another smoker. Am I going to maybe one day have a restaurant? You know, I don't know.
You don't know.
But that's the beautiful thing about it, man. I don't know.
Well, you're having fun. You know, you're having fun. You're doing what you love to do. Everything's still working out for you right now. Like you said, you're creating your own paycheck. You're working harder than the other guy.
I would think so. Yeah.
Right. So who's to say you're doing wrong?
Exactly.
You know?
Who am I to say that they're doing wrong?
Right.
It's just you I'm not one for these are the cards you were dealt in life. I hate that statement because I've been told that before, because I think ultimately at the end of the day, we could still decide on which direction our life is going to go. But again, it always goes back to that faith without action has no plan. You can dream and daydream all day long. But if you don't take the action towards something, and this is one thing I try to tell my son, you know, who has big dreams and stuff like that. And I tell him, I go, you know, you're young, you're 20, you know, take the time now, but do something. And it's okay if you fail at it. Actually, it's better if you fail. It's better if you fail 3 or 4 times, because I failed so much in my life, dude, seriously, that I think the secret to my success was my failure. I should write a book called that. I should write a book called The Secret to My Success, Failure.
I don't think it's over yet. I think you still got some time to go.
No, I mean, again,
man, seriously, like you are, like I've always said this before, like people, like we're writing our own book. You know, we write every time we live our life, we're writing chapters and chapters and chapters. Our book doesn't end until we end.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So like there's always that book is always open until we're done. Until that final chapter's written. And
even then, it's what are you really living life for? Like, you know, we've talked about like the material things and, you know, and the likes and the, you know, and so is driving this and so is driving that. You know, I just shared with you today, like yesterday, I finally, for the first time ever, bought a car that I wanted. It wasn't one that I had to settle for. It wasn't because I didn't qualify for the payment or I didn't qualify for the credit. I bought the car that I wanted. Right. So for me, that's satisfaction. But again, it's material, but it's still a satisfaction to say, okay, my kids are going to know this car. You know what I mean? They're going to know that daddy got this truck, right? And they're happy and it's spending time with my kids in this truck. You know what I mean? Those are the things that I live for, knowing that my kids are going to have that memory. You know, you have kids too, so you know what I'm talking about. So you're right. We're still writing our chapter every day. Success is measured by for me, and I'm trying to say something deep here, and maybe it's not going to come out deep at all. But I think for me, I think success is measured by inner peace you have
Yeah.
with yourself.
It's a happiness.
I think that's it, right?
It's a happiness. You know, if you lived a miserable life, you're
La mala vida.
Yeah, la mala vida.
Some people
you know?
like it. Some people are not happy unless they have a fuchi face on their
Yeah,
face.
right.
And I know I dated women like that. Like they were just like,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what I mean? Before I met and I think about it like, damn, did I dodge bullets? All these chicken heads that I avoided.
It's true.
And I believe me, there's particularly one out there that, you know what I mean?
No names.
No names. As you reach for your drink. But I'm just thinking, man, it's just that they weren't happy or content. And I'm just thinking, man, did I dodge a bullet? You know, and it's just like la mala vida, and it's true. I used to be one that, but when things were like when I was dating my wife, like things were too okay.
Yeah,
like I'm not used to this. Like, why aren't you bitching at me? Why aren't you come? I'm not saying that we don't have our arguments or our disagreements, but 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, it's me. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm the problem. I'm at fault because I'm so used to things. And I think I said this earlier. It's like, is it until I realize like you have to choose to be happy. If you're not happy, there might be external factors of why you're not happy. And then you have to do something about that. Bad relationship, blah, 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 whatever. But sometimes the simple changes is you're so used to being in la mala vida that you don't realize like, crap, but I got nothing to be mad about right now. Yeah. And I think about it, man, and I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. And I can have a bad day, and I come home and I remind myself, don't bring my bad day inside anymore, because everything in that house is perfect. You know, and it may seem like settling. Oh, that's what people have to tell themselves to get past their misery, or they're settling in life. And no. Your reality is your reality. Yeah. And for me, that's what it is. I choose to be happy. I have to choose to be happy every day.
Well, we talked about it earlier. It's when you start talking, when you're too much infused into your faults, that's not good for you. I mean, you acknowledge your faults, because that's how you learn. You know, you learn from your mistakes. Exactly. We teach our kids that all the time, right? You learn from your mistakes, but that doesn't mean that you don't celebrate your successes. You know,
exactly.
Like, acknowledge those too. Acknowledge those more
than your failures. Ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
Boom. Ring the bell.
You know what I mean?
We should put a bell in here, Bo. I'm
gonna do a bell.
Bing, 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 bing.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
No, seriously. I mean, it makes sense, 100%. Because if you're not acknowledging those, then you're just gonna keep getting stuck in this wormhole of.
And those are those people. Have we all know those people that, you know, they're miserable, the wonk, you know, people. And I'm not saying don't have those people in your life, because you need to be in those people's. You need to be in those people's lives, because you need to be the positive factor in those lives. But you have to be the voice of saying, "Hey, you have a lot to be thankful for." Yeah. And yeah, you're right. Like there's so much regret. We all have regret. And they people, I live without regret. No, we all have it. Yeah. You may not worry about it now, but at some point in your life, it's gonna boil up and explode. I have a lot of regret in my life. I admit it. I carry it with a badge. Like, I know there are things that I've done, things I've said, people I've hurt, mistakes I've made. But either I carry those things with me as a constant reminder to tell me I'm a failure, or that tell me, hey, I can be better. Yeah. I can be better. I want to be better, and I will be better. And that's what I've learned to make those regrets be for me. Fuel for that. Not for the opposite of bringing me down every day. And man, and I know it sounds like freaking new age Zen BS talk, and I know it sounds cliche, but it can honestly be that simple, and even better and even easier when you put your identity in something else. Yeah. And my identity is not me being a producer. It's not me being a PitMaster. It's not me being president of Nosotros. I put first and foremost my identity in Christ. Yeah. And that is what, as a day that even to this morning, I was driving to get my car serviced to get something done to it today. I was driving. I was just like being thankful, like here, you know, just living in moments of attitude of gratitude. Yeah. And that's it. And it gets me through the day, you know, as sappy as that sounds.
No, you know, it may sound sappy, but it's true. I mean, it's like, you know, you got to do that. You know, it's being positive, you know, that negativity stuff doesn't help anybody out. No, it's only good. Negativity is only good so you can correct it. Yeah, for positive, you know. Yeah, that's the only reason why it's good.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly right. The only good use for negative stuff in your life is that you turn it into a positive.
That's it.
Because I used to say, you know, life didn't turn out the way that I imagined it, but oh gosh, I used to have this cool little saying. I always try to come up with cool little sayings and I write them down so one day I'll be quoted 100 years from now. Like Joe Gonzales once said, Joel Maurilio Gonzales. Joel Gonzales. Joel Maurilio Gonzales said, but I used to say, like, life didn't turn out the way I imagined it, but it became the life I've always wanted. Yeah. Chain in the sense is like, it's never going to be how you picture it. But at the end, at the core of what I wanted, man, I just wanted, man. And I can be a romantic sap right now, but I've always lived my heart on my shoulder, my heart on my sleeve. I just wanted, man, somebody that I love, and somebody who loved me and I could trust, right? Because I've been brokenhearted, man, right? Yeah. And just know without a doubt that I'm with somebody who's just my counter, opposite, but makes me better. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I have that. And I have that in my kids, and I see the happiness in my children. I see the happiness in the projects I get to do, and the very few friends that I consider friends or people that I could talk to, you know? And I'm like, dude, it's like, it's seeing all of that as a positive, but I got to remind me, the negative is what, knowing how dark things could be is what makes me see how bright things are over here. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's important.
100%, dude. Yeah. If we don't acknowledge that negative stuff, then we don't know if we're doing right. You know, like exactly. you can't compare. You know, you need that comparison. You know,
exactly.
Same thing.
I agree with you, man.
100%. 100%. I think that's the best way to end the show.
Yeah, Crave the Fast Life on Amazon Prime. I got no more, so he doesn't got no more. We're done.
We're not filling up. So
but dude, I gotta say, we'll end it this way, dude. Like, I'm proud that you keep doing this show. I'm glad that you took it to your own format. Oh yeah. And like, man, like, for seriously, I think if anything, if the people that continue to listen to you, they listen to you because you're passionate and you're genuine about doing it. Yeah. And I think that's ultimately all that we really have to offer is our real selves. Yeah. And people are either going to accept you or they're not. And the ones that don't, they're missing out.
Yeah. Or they're not. Or it's just not, it's not for them.
It's not for them.
You know, because
it's not their brand of whiskey.
It's not their brand of whiskey. Or cigar.
Or cigar, exactly.
And at that note, I think that's it, man.
All right.
Crave the Fast Life.
Writing Faith on Netflix. Yeah. And then My Brother's Keeper next, hopefully in January, with theaters distribution gets back up and running. Yeah. Right? So
America's Top Dog.
America's Top Dog. I don't know exactly when that comes out.
But that you had to look it up for A&E, right?
A&E,
it's an A&E special.
And then my docu-series, I'm in development now.
Can't wait for that.
That'll be probably, I'm probably not going to really get into the full shooting of that until March. Yeah. When things kind of get better, and who knows what this election turns out to be like. Yeah. But that'll be something next year, man. But I'll be right here talking to you about it when it's out.
There you go. If you need a taster, let me know.
Yes,
I'll fly out there. I'll taste it. You know,
I'll fly you out first class, put you up at a hotel, and just make sure that you're taken care of.
That's all we're talking about. That's how we do it here. Talking Again podcast. This is Fidel Avendaño Jr. signing off here, or actually I should say tapping out the show with Joel
Gonzales
of
November 15th at Old Sun Brewery.
That's right. Tenny's Craft Barbecue.
Tenny's Craft Barbecue, baby. All right.
We're out of here. Take care.
Bye.
We talking again. You now tuned in to the tap in. You now tuned in to the tap in. You now tuned in to the tap in. We're talking again. Come on. We're live.